Hello, and welcome to our first video lecture for Health Studies of Dangerous Drugs, PBH 435. I am Sheila Clark. I am an assistant professor in the School of Community Health Sciences here at UNLV, and I'll be your instructor for the class. Here on this first slide, I've got a couple of different ways for you to reach out if you have any questions. First, and probably most efficient, my email, sheila.clark@unlv.edu. I also have my phone number listed. Those of you who spend a lot of time on campus might recognize that this is not an office phone number. I actually use a Google Voice number. I find it works a lot better for students. I can get your voicemail wherever I am, and you can also reach out by text to this number. So feel free to give me to text to that, and I can get back to you in the way that suits you best. If you are here on campus, my office is in the Bigelow Health Sciences building that's on the north end of campus, and my office number is 354. I'm always there during my office hours, Mondays and Wednesdays between 12 and 2:30. But I'm also available by appointment, so if you'd like to set up a time for a phone call or if you have time to drop by in person, I'd love to meet you. However you do reach out, I'll do my best to get back to you within 24 hours, whether that's by phone call, text, or email. Although typically not on weekends. I do try to have a life on weekends, but if I hear from you on Friday, I'll do my best to get back to you by the end of the day on the next Monday. One of your big tasks this week is to explain a little bit about who you are, both to me and to the members of your group. So, to be fair, I'd like to start out with a little bit of explaining who I am. And it's always hard for me to have that conversation without starting with this crazy crew. This is my family, really important to me, really big part of who I am. My husband of 22 years is back in that crowd, my two kids, and then a bunch of these other crazy folks that I'm related to really make up an important part of who I am and why I do what I do. These are my dogs, Sniff and Boogie. Sniff's on the left, Boogie's on the right. And these two are what probably keep me sane. We do an awful lot of walking, so if you live anywhere near me, you'd probably see me out with these two on a leash all hours of the day, all kinds of weather. Although Sniff's not a big fan of rain, so it might just be one dog if it's a rainy day like we just had here in town. This is a picture of a lake where I got to spend some time last summer, and this is important because I just love water, whether it's the ocean, this lake in upstate New York. If I ever disappear and you can't find me, you probably find me on a beach somewhere. And of course, I've been living in the desert for a long time, so I enjoy it even more now than I used to. Speaking of the desert, this crazy town of Las Vegas, I've lived here now for 17 years. I grew up in the Air Force, so this is the longest that I've ever lived anywhere. I still don't quite say that I'm from here, but it has grown on me over my time here. Both of my kids born and raised here, and honestly, at this point, I can't ever really see myself living anywhere else. And then finally, copy of a teaching award that I got last semester. And I wanted to include this because I love my job. I love to teach. I especially love to teach public health and classes like the one that we'll be working on this semester. And I include it because especially this one was voted on by students. And it's really important to me that the things that I do in this class help you to learn the things that you're here to learn. And to give you that knowledge that I hope you'll find useful both in your professional life and also in your personal life. I do a lot of work on evidence-based teaching, so looking at other people's research to see what works best for students. But in the end, what's most important to me really is your experience. So if there's things that I'm doing here in class that work especially well for you, I'd love to hear about that. And if there are things that you find challenging, policies or procedures that you don't understand, content that you have questions about, please definitely reach out. As I said, I love what I do, and a lot of that is responding to students. So let me know how things are going for you, and I'll do my best to make sure that this class is one that you find both educational and a positive experience. All right, so a little bit more specifically about our topics for this first week. We'll go through the syllabus, probably not a surprise since it is the first week of class. And because it is an online class, we're going to talk about technology needs as well. A big part of that will be McGraw-Hill's Connect Learn Smart platform. If you haven't used it before, it is the primary tool that we'll be using for our textbook learning here in class. So I want to make sure that you're familiar with that and how it works. And then finally, we'll walk through what a typical week after this first week of setup looks like for our online class. Okay, so the syllabus, you're responsible for knowing the contents of it. I'm probably not the first person who said that to you here at UNLV or even this semester. But I do really expect that you'll take some time this semester, this first week of the semester, to read through it. I'll expect that if you have any questions, if there's anything in the syllabus that's not clear, that you will reach out to me instead of vice versa. So I will hold you to that over the course of our couple of months here together. But on the flip side of that, I also consider it a contract between me and you, so you also will know what to expect from me by the time you've gone through that. Just a couple of things that may be different between me and other instructors that you've had, some policies that I'd like to point out. First of all, extra credit. I give you lots of different ways to earn points here in this class, but I typically don't offer extra credit. There may be an extra credit question or two on a test here and there, but on the whole, large extra credit assignments that you could use to bring up your grade towards the end of the semester, I wouldn't expect those from me. In general, with my experience of teaching, and I've taught this class quite a few times, students who need the extra credit don't do it, and students who do the extra credit don't need it. So save us all a little bit of work. And just pay attention to your grade from the beginning of the semester and be reaching out if you have questions early on. Also, late work. Because of the nature of this class, the online nature of it, we do have multiple deadlines over the course of the semester and even over the course of the week. You need to get your work in on time. I don't accept late work. That being said, I do understand that sometimes life can interfere with your studies. So I do have a system that I call late passes. Twice over the course of the semester, you'll be able to request an automatic 4-day extension for any kind of assignment other than the exams. You don't have to tell me why. It doesn't matter whether your dog had to go to the vet or your boss called you into work. The reason's not important. Just let me know before the assignment is due, and you'll receive an automatic 4-calendar day extension. Please check that section of the syllabus out especially carefully. It is a tool that I provide to help students, so make sure that you are familiar with how it works so you're ready to use it if you need it. And then finally, academic integrity. You'll do a lot of writing for our online class. I do expect that all of that writing is your own original work. I did all of my graduate work here at UNLV. I'm a fellow rebel, so the quality of your degree is especially important to me. Please make sure that you are using only your own words whether you're writing for class or doing a discussion post, unless it's properly cited. Again, please read through that syllabus. If you have any questions, let me know. Those are some particular sections that you might want to pay attention to, but of course there's an entire 10-page document there for your reading pleasure. All right, in terms of where the points are coming from here in class, we'll start with the only post that's only worth 5 points, and that's this week when you'll be doing an introduction post for both me and the members of your group. The Learn Smart assignments, this is that McGraw-Hill Connect platform that I mentioned earlier. You'll be doing assignments from that almost every week unless we have an exam. Each of those is worth 5 points, and we have 18 of them, so a total of 90 points from the Learn Smart assignments. Most weeks here in class, you'll also be doing a discussion question. There'll be a detailed prompt posted in Web Campus. You'll need to respond to that. Both a main post and some replies. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. There are 9 of those worth 10 points each, so a total of 90 points from discussion questions. We have 3 additional written assignments, 20 points each, so 60 points there, and then a total of 3 exams worth 50 points each, so 150 altogether. If you are an undergraduate, that leads to 395 points available over the course of the semester. If you are a graduate student enrolled in the cross-listed HED 635 section, there's an additional paper you'll need to write, and that's worth 50 points. Again, if you are an undergrad and you're enrolled in PBH 435, you don't need to worry about that. And if you are a grad student, you'll be hearing a little bit more from me later on in the class about what that paper needs to look like. So that's where our points come from, and you'll find the grading criteria in the syllabus as well. Okay, I'm going to take a minute now to talk about the technology needs here for our online class. In order to successfully complete this class, you'll definitely have to have access to Web Campus, which if you're watching this video, I assume that you do. And you'll also need access to audio for recorded lectures. Again, if you can hear me now, then you'll be in good shape. You'll need access to the McGraw-Hill Connect platform. You may have had some questions when you saw how the book was available for purchase in the bookstore. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But that's the primary platform that we'll be using for your textbook. And then finally, you'll need to have regular access to your Rebel Mail for announcements about the class. And I do due date reminders for about the first third of the class. So you'll be getting those in your Rebel Mail as well. If you're having any trouble getting to that, please reach out to our help desk, 895-0777, and they can help you get your password reset or whatever else you might need to make sure you can get to that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Learn Smart. So Learn Smart is a true interactive textbook. It's not just an ebook where you read through the pages on your screen instead of in a physical book. This is a true interactive learning platform. It is a little on the expensive side, but I poll students about it every semester and I always get really good feedback about it, so I keep reusing it. Basically, what you'll need is an online access code here. So important to note, you don't actually have to have a physical copy of the textbook unless that's something you'd like for yourself. The easiest way to do this is to purchase it through Web Campus. So if you don't already have an online access code, you'll want to go ahead and click through to the Learn Smart assignments, and when you get there, you'll get the opportunity to purchase access. Talk a little bit about how that works, and then I'm show you as much of it as I can. Basically, you'll be doing 1 to 2 modules a week. These correspond to the chapters in the textbook. Each module is worth 5 points, so some weeks you'll be earning 5 points for that work, some weeks you'll be earning 10. And you complete those modules by completing the practice questions. I do have some detailed instructions on how to connect between Web Campus and that Learn Smart platform on Web Campus in the Start Here folder. The item is called Getting Started with Learn Smart, and that will walk you through step by step and screen by screen exactly how that should work. If you have any questions or problems while you're walking through that, the best person to reach out here, the best organization here would be McGraw-Hill's Tech Support. Their number is 800-331-5094. But let's take a minute to see how that actually looks. Bear with me just a second, and we'll take a look here on Web Campus. Nope, not Web Campus. Here's Web Campus. Okay, so if you take a look, when you open up Web Campus, it's going to look something like this. Here's the Start Here folder with all the information and tasks for you to complete here in the first week. And then next week, you're going to be here in course content. You're going to want to go to the Connect Learn Smart Assignments. Go ahead and click on that. Now, if you haven't connected yet, here you'll see the link in the detailed instructions for connecting those 2 accounts. Once that's done, you'll see something that looks like this. Let's say it's the second week of class. I need to complete the first chapter. I'll go ahead and click on this one, Chapter 1. An overview of drug use, which is due on January 28th. I'm not going to do that because it will take me to the instructor view, but once you've done it, it'll look something like this. It'll open up your student list on the Connect platform, and you'll see the list of tasks you need to complete. This is your Week 1 assignment, Connect to Connect, really very simple. That one will be self-explanatory when you open it, but I do want to show you how one of these Learn Smart modules works. So I'll go ahead and click on the arrow here for the one that's available for Chapter 1, and it's going to open up the ebook. One of the things that the Smart Book will do, it will highlight the most important sections of the chapter for you to read. So if we give it just a moment to load up here. And now we're initializing, loading content. All right, I thought I was going to have to start again. All right, so here's our Chapter 1. So this first couple of pages here, this is the introductory section to the information to the section, and the Smart Book doesn't find this especially important. So if we move to the next section, or really even the one after that, it's going to pull out some highlighted text. Here we are. And this is some of the information that the authors think is most important. So when you go through and do your first task of reading the content, you can focus on reading these highlighted sections. If you are a reader, if you're especially interested, you can definitely read these sections that are grayed out just by clicking on them. It'll bring the text into a format that's a little easier to read. Once you've completed reading Chapter 1, next you're going to go down here to this practice button. And this will bring up the questions that you actually have to complete to get those 5 points for the Chapter 1 module. So once you've read the chapter, come back, complete the questions, and if you're unsure or have no idea what the answer are, you can go ahead and click on these buttons and they'll bring you back to the section of the text where the answer is listed. So that's basically how you walk through those. Please let me know if you have questions as we go through the first week or two. Once you've completed the section before Sunday at midnight, the grade will automatically transfer over to Web Campus. All right, so that's our Learn Smart platform, how to get to it and how to actually earn the points. Um, Now, we just walked through two separate platforms, both Web Campus and the McGraw-Hill one. There are going to be technology problems. This happens every semester, whether it's Web Campus or the tool on the other end. And I just want to talk a little bit in advance about how to handle those, since we can expect that they'll occur. Please communicate early and often. If you're unable to get your work done on time, it's going to go a lot better for you if you email me as soon as you know that that's a problem than if you wait until 2 weeks after and say, oh, but the Learn Smart platform was down that week. Let me know that you're having issues. Let me know that you are working to fix them, and we can be more confident then that we'll be able to end up with a positive outcome for you and giving you the opportunity to receive the points that you deserve. Keep in mind that if you're having problems with Web Campus, the right tech support staff there would be our help desk, 895-0777, and that if you're having problems with the Connect platform, then you want to be calling McGraw-Hill, that 800 number that I listed on a previous slide. Okay, so once we move through our first week here in class, we have a much more typical week. Week 1 we dedicate to resolving technology issues, making sure everyone has access to the platforms that they need and their accounts are all set up. So starting next week, we'll be looking at a more typical week. So first you'll complete the assigned reading, usually a chapter, sometimes 2, and then you'll complete that Learn Smart module that we just walked through, 1, possibly 2, depending on the week, and those will need to be done by Sunday at midnight. So of course the module becomes available usually a week or 2 before it's due. The week starts on Monday, and the modules need to be completed by Sunday at midnight. Then there'll be a lecture for you to listen to. That's in another section on Web Campus. If you bear with me, I'll flip back and show you where those are. We're here in course content. Those are going to be here in lectures and study guides. There'll be one for each week, and as you open them up, you'll see the content that you need. So go ahead and complete that video lecture. You'll see the slides on your screen, hear my voice. Sometimes those get a bit long with the content we have to cover. It could be 30 to 45 minutes. So if they are longer, I break them up into sections, and that way you can listen to them at different times as it works for you. While you're listening to the lectures, you'll complete the study guide that goes along with it. These are not required to be turned in, and I don't grade them, but they are definitely the best way to prepare for the exams. So please make sure that you're completing those as the course goes along. Also, most weeks, 9 out of the weeks that we spend together here with our online class, you'll need to complete a discussion post. Those discussion posts are worth 10 points per week. And for the purposes of completing those, you'll be broken up into smaller discussion groups of about 8 of your classmates. I post some guidelines for those discussion posts in that Start Here folder. It is 90 points that come from these, so it's important for you to know exactly what I'm looking for. Read through those guidelines. If you have questions about what a high-quality post would look like, let me know, but I do have samples in there for you to check out. That first main post, your primary response to that discussion prompt, will be required to be in by Wednesday at midnight. There's a total of 6 points available for that main post. Over the course of the rest of the week, before Sunday at midnight, you'll need to post 2 meaningful replies to group members. Just a quick note, again, look at those guidelines. A post like I agree or good post is not going to get you the 4 points for those 2 replies. You need to engage with the material that your classmates have written in some kind of a meaningful way. Ask them a question, respond to something, provide some further information on a point that they've raised. Find a way to make that a meaningful contribution and get that done by Sunday at midnight to receive the final 4 points of those 10 points for the week. That's how a typical week will look here in our class. Again, this week, slightly different. This week, your goals are all technology-based. First of all, you're going to set up your McGraw-Hill Connect account. Again, the easiest way to do that is to go through Web Campus. And then you'll complete that very first Connect to Connect assignment. This is very, very simple. It's just a yes or no question. Basically, you'll get 5 points for it, and it's just to let me know that you've got your technology in place. I have a note here to set up a Remind account, but I've actually decided to use Web Campus for my announcements this semester instead based on some student feedback, so please ignore that. You'll need to do your Connect to Connect assignment for 5 points and then your introduction post by Sunday at midnight. Just a quick one more Web Campus note on how you'll actually get to your discussion questions, and that's here on the far left side of your Web Campus screen. You're going to be looking for My Groups, and here you'll find the discussion group that you were assigned to. When you click on that, it will take you to your discussion board, and the prompts that you need to respond to will appear there as well. So that's where to find everything on Web Campus and also on the Connect platform. And again, remember your 2 tasks this week. Set up your McGraw-Hill account so that you can complete that very first Connect to Connect assignment and get that introduction post up by Sunday at midnight. So thanks for bearing with me through this first video lecture and through this first week while we get our technology established. Again, please reach out with questions. I'll look forward to hearing from you, and that'll wrap us up for our first lecture.